Hi everyone, it's your girl Whitney Luna, and the topic of today is fall in love with your demons, heal your generational curses. Now, I want to start off by saying that I do not believe that your ancestors, your lineage was ever really cursed or hexed, although I don't completely rule it out. I do believe that generational curses, generational trauma, is more so pain and trauma that our ancestors had to go through or experienced where they developed bad coping mechanisms, bad ways of living, things like addiction, unhealthy ways of living that were basically passed down to us. And you are here to heal that. You are the star seed, you are the black sheep, you are the empath who has the ability to heal these, I guess you could say, unhealthy ways of life. So it's not an easy exercise. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to bring up a lot of old emotions, a lot of anger, sadness, depression, all those things that we kind of push down and don't really deal with when we're going through a lot of these painful experiences. I mean, when I did this exercise, I remember a lot of old things that came up that I was like, wow, I had no idea that this bothered me half as much as it did, but apparently it bothered me a lot. So when it comes to this exercise, I just want to make sure that you do have a strong base, that you have someone that you can call when you're kind of, I guess you could say, losing your grip on reality, because it will happen when dealing with heavy, trauma, pain, depending on how intense your childhood was. It can kind of cause you to go into a depression, but like experience some anxiety, things like that. So please have a strong base, have a therapist, have a friend, have a family member that you can call when, I guess you could say, going through different emotions. But I also want to say, don't rely on these people too much, because at the end of the day, it is your healing. And I firmly believe that you have the ability to do this yourself. However, just make sure that you do have a friend when you do need someone to talk to, because that helped me a lot, and I know it'll definitely help you. So, onto the exercise. What you're going to do is you're going to make a list of everything that you are currently struggling with. So, is it health problems? Is it addictions? Is it relationship issues? Just make a list of every single thing that you are currently struggling with. After you make the list, I kind of want you to just fold it up and put it away and not really think about it, because after starting that exercise, that basically gets the energy flowing. We're dealing with the Sacral Chakra, which is the second chakra from the bottom, which its element is water and its color is orange. So writing that list, putting it away, we're going to get the memories flowing. Maybe 2 or 3 days later, sit down and look at the list and see if there's anything more that you've remembered or anything more that's come up that you need to add to it, because I can guarantee it that there are a lot of things that are going to come up, after starting the list, and then a few days later going back, you'll be like, oh, I have a few more memories I want to add to it. After your list is made, I want you to go back to your earliest childhood memories and kind of see where a lot of these issues began. If it's overeating, when did you start to overeat? If it's relationship issues, whether it's friendships, romantic, try and think back to your earliest relationships or friendships and how those relationships were. You'll start to notice consistencies between yourself and other family members. So for instance, say you have issues with friendships, you'll be like, oh, well, you know what? My dad wasn't really the nicest person to me. And I noticed that a lot of the guys that I surround myself with were exactly like that. So you'll start to notice a lot of consistencies like that and kind of piece them together and be like, oh, you know what? Here's a generational curse. A lot of the men in our family kind of have a distorted masculine. Or you might look at health problems you have and be like, oh, you know what? That seems to be common in our family. We all seem to have digestive issues. So that when you start to figure it out, it'll start to make sense, and you'll start to notice a lot of similarities and a lot of consistencies between you and your family. Even if they live far away, you'll be like, wow, even though they're on the other side of the planet, we all seem to suffer from the same things. Generational issues or generational trauma, right? When you're doing this exercise, I will be providing a video. When I upload this a couple days later, I will upload another one that gives you basically a lesson on how to do Reiki on yourself, so you can make a list and then meditate on it after and try to clear the energy that is basically keeping you stagnant, keeping you stuck. When you start this exercise, you need to really start paying attention to your body and your health. Water is very important when you start this exercise. this is going to sound crazy. Drink at least 3 to 4 liters of water a day. Add a little bit of lemon and lime to it. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you actually pace yourself and say, okay, by 10 o'clock, I need to have 1 liter. Okay, by 2 o'clock, I need to have my second. When you figure out a way that works for you, it'll just be second nature to you. All of a sudden, you'll notice that you're just drinking more water throughout the day, and you'll be like, oh, this is really easy once I figure it out. Don't sit down and drink 4 liters at once, okay? Please do not do that. You need to kind of pace yourself, because when you're doing this exercise, a lot of old emotions will come up, and you're going to have a lot of strange mood swings throughout the day. You might be really happy. You might be really angry. The water kind of keeps you stabilized because, like I said, we're working with the sacral chakra. The sacral deals with emotions. We need to give it water in order to keep it kind of flowing well, because its element is water. So please stay hydrated. The other thing I was going to say is that doing this exercise is a form of healing the mind, is a way of healing the body, mind, and soul. So healing the body, you need to get proper rest. When you're sick, you don't go out until 3 o'clock in the morning and come back and expect to feel better the next day. That's not how it works. Same thing with spiritual healing. When you get sick with the flu or a cold, you tend to get a stuffy nose, a cough, things like that. You're going to experience stuff like that when doing spiritual healing, spiritual clearing. You might wake up with some back pain. You might wake up with some leg pain. You might get some arm pain. Some really strange things that happened to me while doing this exercise and then doing Reiki right after was getting really bad arm pain after the Reiki session, which was kind of different because I never struggled with arm pain before. Or I'd wake up with really sore feet. Oh, okay, that explains it, because I was holding a lot within my feet, apparently. I actually watched an interesting video on this. Actually, no, it was a documentary I watched years ago. Don't ask me the name, I don't remember. But they did a test on people who had been through or had traumatic childhoods. And they suffered from some form of body pain, even though they didn't have any previous injury that would lead to them having this body pain. It turned out that they connected them to some type of machine, and they could see that they stored those traumatic memories in certain parts of the body. So, for instance, one man had knee problems. It turned out that's where he stored a lot of his trauma. One woman had issues with her shoulders. It turned out that's where she kept a lot of her trauma. So, same thing with when you're clearing this energy, you're going to get weird symptoms. You're going to get weird body pain. Do not worry. It's just your body clearing old energy, old stagnant energy that needs to be released in order to live more abundantly, live more happily. I also want to mention that you really need to watch your eating. I mean, you're going to have a lot of strange, strange cravings. I noticed for myself, all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, I kind of want to go out for some ice cream. Go out for some ice cream. I was like, oh, I kind of craves a little bit of fries or something. Go out and have some fries. Treat yourself. This, like I said, we're dealing with the sacral. The sacral is all about self-pampering, but also kind of just enjoying life, But just be aware that it's really easy to binge when dealing with past trauma, emotions that don't really feel great. So be careful not to overeat, but don't restrict yourself so much that you're not enjoying life anymore. Like I said, if you have a little craving for ice cream, go out and get ice cream. There's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy life. The other thing I was going to say is that it's really easy to isolate during this time. I mean, it is important because some days you're going to wake up and you're going to feel exhausted. You're not going to feel like yourself. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be upset. Don't worry. You're not going to feel like that forever, even though I'm sure it feels like you might be. It's not going to be like that forever. It's just these are old emotions that need to come up and be felt in order to be properly healed and released. So on the days where you feel great, and those are definitely going to happen, call a friend. Go out and do something. That's also feeding the sacral. The sacral is all about connecting with other people. Kind of just socializing and being that warm person that you are. If you're having an off day, make sure you take time for yourself. This is time for you to heal. If you feel exhausted and if someone calls you up, don't force yourself to go out. This is your healing. This is your time to take care of yourself. No more doing things for other people to make them feel better. This is about your healing. Get proper rest, proper nutrition. The other thing I was going to say is you might notice a change in your diet. While raising your vibration, you might notice, oh, you know what? I don't really want to eat this stuff anymore. Or you notice after you eat it, you start to feel sick. That's because it's not in alignment with who you are now. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden you're eating less meat, or maybe you want to go plant-based. I definitely cannot go plant-based. I wish I could, but it's not in the cards for me, but if it's in the cards for you, I think that's amazing. That's a different way of living. That's for the higher vibrating version of you. The other thing I wanted to say is really pay attention to who you surround yourself with at this time. You are raising your vibration. So if you're around somebody who lowers it, you're just going to be basically taking 10 steps backwards. So pay attention to who you surround yourself with. Maybe you'll go out with an old friend and realize, you know what, we're really not on the same page anymore. They want to go out and drink and party, and I'm over that type. I'm over that part in my life. I want to take my life more seriously. I want to, maybe go back to school. Who knows? It's just be really careful who you surround yourself with. You might meet new people. You might, broaden your circle in some way, or you might realize, you know what, a lot of people I surrounded myself with before weren't in it for my greatest good, so I'm gonna kind of figure out who's really there for me and who's not. So it's a very interesting exercise, because although it is a little bit intense, like I said, you're dealing with old emotions, you're dealing with old trauma. It is so rewarding at the end of the day. It may take you a year, it may take you a couple of years, it may take you only a few months, who knows. This is all your healing, and this is all what I firmly believe was meant to be a part of your spiritual path in order to ascend and live the best life that you could. I also want to say that when it comes to healing past trauma, past hurt, all that stuff, it doesn't have to be depressing. It doesn't have to be all dark and gloomy. You can have fun with it. What else? Make a list of all the things that you liked as a child. Oh, I like to play soccer, or I like to go to the candy store every Saturday and, pick a few treats out, or I like to watch this cartoon every Saturday morning. Do it. Why does it have to be that when we're adults we have to be all boring and go to the same job and come home and not do anything creative? Be creative. That's the other part of this chakra that we're healing. It wants to be creative. It wants to express itself. So maybe buy a few of those little water paintings and just have fun with, if you have kids, sit around and water paint with them. Sit around and watch cartoons with them. Go to the candy store and buy the little candies that you used to like when you were a kid. Have fun with it. It doesn't have to be all depressing and dark. It will get dark. It will get depressing. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But on the days where you're feeling great, go out and be a kid again. Who doesn't want to be like that? It doesn't have to be boring being an adult. Just have fun. Enjoy life again. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys can put this into practice and live the better life that you deserve. I love you guys so much. Take care.